That's great. Thank you very much. It may be that we have an opportunity at the end, if there's perhaps some questions that come to people as you listen to Jazz as well. Perhaps we can make some time for questions for both of you. I'd like to introduce Jazz Browne now. She is the CEO of Nubian Life, which is a specialist provider of culturally specific activity-based care for African, Caribbean and Asian older people with complex health and social care needs. With over 25 years experience of working within the community and strategically, the charity remains consistently active within the adult social care and community sectors, collaborating with a wide range of organisations to deliver innovative services and projects, shaping guidelines for best practice and service provision, in particularly giving a voice to the specific needs of BAME older people accessing statutory and community services. I'll hand over to you, Jazz.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining this session. I'm hoping to give you a quick oversight of Nubian Life and then hopefully have some time for some questions. Right, so Nubian Life Resource Centre, we're a Black-led charity operating in Hammersmith and Fulham. That's where we're based for the daycare centre. However, we operate UK-wide. Thanks, Rupert. Our values are people, purpose and passion. We started quite a few years ago. We were set up by a group of African Caribbean older people who were excluded from mainstream services. They realised that they weren't going to go back home to the Caribbean and needed to think about how they aged well in the UK. At that time, they were known as Hammersmith and Fulham Black Senior Citizens, and they set up a social club where they were meeting twice a week. At the time, Josephine Kwali was an Assistant Director of Social Services and recognised that there was an emerging need for culturally specific care for the Asian community and the African Caribbean community. And Josephine applied to the Department of Health for funding, and Hammersmith and Fulham Black Senior Citizens was successful and renamed the charity Nubian Life, which transitioned from a social club to a luncheon club, and now a care provider and a charity that provides services in the community. So in terms of our daycare provision, we are a culturally specific care provider for African Caribbean older people. And in 2019, we were asked to provide care to Asian elders whose daycare centre had closed. So we provide daycare for those two client groups. We provide 24-hour advocacy support. We run a savings club. We have a community garden named after one of our clients, Josiah Braithwaite, who started our gardening journey. As a result, in response to COVID-19, we developed the Reminiscence in Action project. And as a charity, we have a strong belief in social responsibility. And so each year we identify a charity that we want to support, and we always look at ways that we could support other organisations with the work that they're doing. Thanks, Rupert. So our clients are older people with complex health conditions such as dementia, Alzheimer's disease and physical disability. We strongly believe in co-designing with our clients a range of health, social, spiritual and creative, as well as educational activities, which meet their personal aspirations as individuals and as a collective. And our service is based on the 4 things they told us were important to them. So the first thing they told us was foundation, and it was really important that they didn't, one of the things that they love about coming to the centre, which they've called the club, is that they don't have to explain who they are. You know, they're amongst their peers, they're amongst the staff team that understands them and where they're coming from. They're amongst the staff team that understand their faith and their beliefs and how that plays out in their everyday life. That family was important, and that's not always about blood relatives. It could be a church family, it could be a previous group that they were part of, but how we also create those circles of support with the people that are important in their life and their care. Food is a really important part of our daycare service. We have an on-site catering team, and all of the meals are planned with our clients. They tell us what they want to eat, and we look at their religious and their dietary needs as well. One of the important things for me when I took over as Chief Exec in 2012 was that we added fun, that the daycare centre was a fun place to be, that, you know, our clients would go home tired at the end of the day, or that they would have really good memories of being with us. Thanks, Rupert. So here's just some pictures of us having fun. So this lady in the corner, sitting in the wheelchair, we're at Kensington Palace, so they were trying on the costumes. And Hilda is the grandma of the house. She's 101, and she's our dominoes queen. The next picture, we have Three Gentlemen, and that was our Value in Independence project, where we just had a group of older people, and every month we went out to a restaurant for something to eat, the theatre, a day trip out of London. And again, it was just about keeping older people connected by their interest and things that they liked doing. Right down in the bottom left-hand corner, in 2019, we mentored a Somali organisation that were interested in developing a daycare service, and we had their staff come in as well as their clients, and then we mentored them through the process of setting up a daycare provision, so that some of their clients there doing chair-based exercise. And then in the last right-hand corner, that was a day trip to Brighton, which we all had a great time. Thanks, Rupert. So in terms of our next of kin service, it's a 24-hour advocacy support service for those clients that don't have a relative or don't want their immediate relatives involved in their care planning or their end of life. We provide UK-wide advocacy support. We manage direct payments. We can be power of attorney, and we provide support to carers. In 2007, we set up a savings club. We were encouraging our clients to save. So we set up a holiday club so that they had a purpose for saving. And between 2007 and 2011, we went to Gambia, to Turkey, to Egypt, did a Caribbean cruise, a Mediterranean cruise, and we went to Cuba. So we had a great time traveling together. We also encourage our clients to, you know, save for their funerals. If that's something they want to do, they save for Christmas treats, gifts for their grandchildren, or they just continue to save. Thank you. The community garden, so our Josiah Braithwaite community garden, we secured funding for the lottery for 5 years funding. It's a partnership with another charity called Fulham Good Neighbours, and the overall project is called Adopt a Garden. So Fulham Good Neighbours, they help older people maintain their gardens in the south of the borough, and in the north of the borough, where we're based, we set up a community garden. So prior to COVID, we were running gardening clubs for children on a Saturday, so as you can see in the pictures. And then when we had to close the garden, we transferred those gardening workshops to online activities, which are going really well. And now families can sign up for a half-an-hour session in the garden on a Saturday. A lot of these children are either in temporary accommodation or overcrowded accommodation, so it's really great that they have access to an outdoor classroom or just access to the garden where they can run around for a short period of time. Thank you. I talked earlier about our work with the Somali organisation in terms of mentoring and capacity building support for smaller BME community organisations. We also provide social work placements, generic volunteering opportunities, so we're open for anybody in the community that wants to volunteer. We provide student placements for university students, so in particular Richmond University for their medical students, workplace experience for local schools and colleges, and we do an annual outreach for the homeless, where we work with 2 churches and we go out and they pick up people from Westminster, we bring them into the day centre, they have access to a shower, clean clothes, full English breakfast, full Christmas dinner, entertainment, and then we also bring in health providers. So the last we couldn't do it last year because of COVID, but previously, you know, they had access to having their toenails cut. A registered nurse as well as a couple of barbers came in and they had their hair washed and cut and styled. Thank you. We also do youth challenge days. We work with Westside Young Leaders Academy, and this is February 2019, where we had 33 young boys in the building and we had to find a range of activities for them to do. And it was really great watching them dismantle a desk, put together a plant stand for us. They did some gardening, they washed down the walls, and we just had a really great time with them in the building. Thank you. We do a lot of strategic and partnership work. So we work with the Mayor's Office for Police and Crime, ensuring that older people's views are taken into account when the police are developing their policing plan for London. We do some work with the Black Police Association. I'm a founding member of the Hammersmith and Fulham BME Mental Health Group, a founding member of Dementia ACE. I've been working with Cardiff University on their Dementia and Diversity Research Project. We're partners with UCL on their preventative dementia study. We set up after George Floyd, we recognised that a number of Black workers in the borough were under immense pressure or had, you know, an emotional response to that. And so we set up a thing called Safe Space, where we could just get online every other week and really just share and encourage each other. And our artistic partners are Bush Theatre and Offstage Theatre, as well as we do a lot of work with Sobers, who are our third sector umbrella organisation. Thank you. One of my really exciting projects that we developed in response to COVID is Reminiscence in Action. It's a culturally specific therapeutic activity platform online. And it's made up of 3 elements at the moment. So we have the Nubian Oracle, which is storytelling. So we have a story from the Caribbean, from Somalia and from India. We have poems written by our clients, and we were fortunate to work with Sirius, who organised the London Jazz Festival, and we're able to record a series, a collection of songs, our clients' favourite songs, as part of that project as well. Thank you. So these are just some pictures. So this is our Somali wedding story. So all of this is available on our website when you click on Reminiscence in Action. Thank you, Rupert. So Chalet on the big screen, it was a #1 hit. It's a modern retake of this film. It was a hit in India, It was in the cinemas for around 7 years, so a very well-known story that was retold as part of the Reminiscence in Action project. Thank you. And if we go on to the next one, thank you. Our Nubian poems. So here's some of our clients. This is Christine at the top, who is 92. She's a dancer in the group. I've got a lovely video of students teaching her how to do candy, which is really great. And this is Hyson down at the bottom, that we nicknamed Duchess because she always used to have her hair and a lovely hairstyle. And this is Sheba performing their poems. Thank you. And really, thank you for listening and allowing me to share our work with you. Thank you, Rupert.
Thank you very much, Jazz. Just wondered if there's any questions really for either Jazz or for Kim. We've heard so much this afternoon, and I think again, you know, there's almost that link with Nick's talk as well, the sense of the importance of stories and how people engage with each other. There's something shared as we share an experience, an activity, or a story. There's a mutual connection which occurs. So if you'd like to ask questions, that'd be fantastic.
Jazz, I'd like to ask you, have you done any film work with your community?
We've done a couple of short films. So I think on YouTube, you may find some clips around Ruby's Song, which was a film around one of our clients, her experience of coming to the UK. So we have a couple of short films.
And what do you find with language? Because I know that as people get older, and as a lot of people, when they have dementia and they're older, they often revert back to first language and perhaps lose a second language. And I know a lot of communities speak multiple different languages, and I don't know how that affects receiving films that are largely in the medium of English. What's your experience of that?
Right, I think when we were developing Reminiscence in Action, it was one of the things that we looked at, particularly around the Somali story. And it was really important that although some of it was in English, some of it's in Somali as well. And so we tried to incorporate bits of the story that would be repeated. And so people would get used to using those words. We haven't directly faced the language barrier with our client groups, but I know some of our colleagues in the Chinese community have faced that challenge.
Because it is a big challenge when we're trying to make content that we think will be accessible and will be useful for understanding everybody's needs.
Yes.
So it's hard enough to get the basic stuff made, let alone, but then, you know, you want to find a medium and a way that makes it all accessible as possible.
Yeah, and I think it's really important around trying as much as possible to work with those communities, so they set the direction of the film and the content of it.
Yeah, we've been talking to Abdi Sagul, who runs Redsea House in Cardiff, which is it's a residential home for Somali men, and we've been talking about potentially trying to do something there. And so you know, we've been discussing how that would be possible with different languages and this, that, and the other. So
okay, that sounds exciting.
I know, I'll let you know if we get to do it.
Yes, thank
As
you.
we're planning it, if it happens.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I see Suzanne's hand up there.
Yes, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
That's great. Well, I just want to say, it's not a question, I don't think, but I just want to say to Kimberly and to Jazz, both excellent presentations, and just so interesting to see that video we made with the parents. I think I've seen before, I've met you something else before, but gosh, it's so heartening to see them anyway, getting on with their lives and doing whatever, and that singing just brings joy to your heart, really. And to Jazz, the work you're doing, I think is absolutely phenomenal. really, really phenomenal. And I'd like to see something. I hope we could do something in Wales, set something up for the Black minority ethnic communities as well. And I wouldn't have a clue how to go about it, but whoever's listening, if there's any help, anything anyone could do to help, and we can get something going, even with your help, Jazz, that'd be absolutely fantastic to do. So thank you very much, the two of you. It's so heartening to hear and to see the stories. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I did get your email, Suzanne, and I'd be quite happy to work with you.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Sorry, I can just see funding has been a real challenge, just picking up something in the chat. Funding has been a real challenge for us. Up until last year, I think since around 2013, we've been on an annual contract. And so it's been really hard to remain relevant and present while still trying to work out. And we're still going to be there from the 1st of April. And so that's been a real challenge for us. I'm hoping we've managed to just negotiate a 3-year contract, because what was happening was that our lease was tied to the funding contract. So if we don't have the daycare contract, we don't have access to the building. And so we've really just been trying to push on that, but funding remains a real concern.
And that perhaps links some of the conversations earlier around evidence and how we demonstrate outcomes, isn't it? As Nick said, there's that element of stories really do touch people's hearts. And some of the stories of the work that you're doing hopefully hits people's hearts, which will result in securing that funding.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Are there any more questions out there?
Rupert,
Yes.
would we be able to connect to the internet?
I'm not sure, sorry. Is that in terms of to present something from your website?
Yes, I just thought it might be useful because we've still got a bit of time and maybe share something. But if not, that's fine. It's just a thought.
I can see if I can get it up on my screen and then share my screen, perhaps.
Okay, thank you.
Is there a website you'd like me to go to?
Nubian Life. Okay, so if we click off on the X, and then go to Reminiscence in Action, and then Nubian Oracle, and then if we could scroll down a bit on the screen, and then if we could click on the middle.
This one?
Yes, thank you. Are you able to enlarge the screen? Yeah, thank you.
Rupert, did you optimize for sound when before you shared? Because I can't hear it. I don't know if anyone else can.
Is that working now?
No, it's not. Not for me anyway.
Sorry, could anyone else hear it?
No.
No. See, did you? I mean, you probably know this. You probably know it much better than I do. But you know, before you screen share, there are two little boxes on the bottom left-hand side of the screen that you have to click so that when you play a video, it shares the sound.
All right.
You might have to go back out of your screen sharing and start again.
After
Can you hear that now?
Got it now. Well done.
Okay.
And the long history of Somali storytelling. Sweet love, sweet words, smooth hands, open heart, Bisika Rapso, warm skin, open hands, good luck, Bisika Rapso, tender neck, forehead kiss, full success, Bisika Rapso. I have a love. Let me tell you about it. Baladhain is the name of spring that flows into the small lake of Hawad, west of Browne, a day or two from Browne. When you travel east and watch the sun wrap around you like a ma'awis. Hibba was her name. 2 decades she graced this dunya. Her neck stood slender. There is no love like comparing one to an ostrich. Khalid was his name. He saw a prayer and he came to get hold of it. Sweet love, sweet words, smooth hands, open heart, Bisika Rapso, warm skin, open hands, good luck, Bisika Rapso, tender neck, forehead kiss, full success, Bisika Rapso. I have a love. Let me tell you about it. Hibba spends her day dressing her fingers, her arms and legs. In the midnight henna lays out her hidyodagan, her guninta, her dil. The women in her family practice their ululating. When the day arrives, their throats are dry. There Hibba, with her glowing cheeks. Sweet love, sweet words, smooth hands, open heart, Bisika Rapso, warm skin, open hands, good luck, Bisika Rapso, tender neck, forehead kiss, full success, Bisika Rapso. I have a love. Let me tell you about it. The jandir and the burambul is in full effect. The men and the women face off with the ceremony. Dresses swish to the sound of music. Hibba's dira is blinding. The beads sewn on are truly a map of this land. From Red Ruqoyi to Red Hamar, Ilahi Hana Barakeh. Nimu Ashag Duhsiya, Galaywa Dumtilo. He, Khalid, fell in love with her. He was left paralyzed. A night is not shown in pictures, but in movement, in the echoes of ululating women, and in the prayers of dawn never returning. In this love, dulkibat kuchifo, deritka obahku bushko, 2 families, 2 unions, blessed with dir salam. La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. We read the 114 chapters of the Quran for this union. We read the tributes of the Prophet for this union. We are the maternal and paternal aunts, your next of kin. We have gathered here for the sake of your happiness. We have wishful prayers for you in mind, and we hope Allah will accept. We pray for Allah's bounty and affluence, kindness and forgiving, affection and touch.
Thank you.
That was beautiful, Jazz. Really lovely.
Thank you. I mean, we really enjoyed working on the project. I think we had 12 weeks, 15 weeks to get it done. So it was an amazing time in terms of commissioning the stories, finding actors. Yeah, a really great time had working on it.
Thank you all. I think as we can see in the chat, I think that both of you today have really had an impact on people's hearts as they've listened to the work that both of you are doing. Thank you so much for your time in putting your presentations together and sharing with us today. I'm just looking at the time. There's 5 more minutes before we go back into the main sessions. But that may give us a little bit of time to stretch legs before we head back there, unless there's any more questions that people have.
I think there's just one more in the chat in terms of how do older people react. They love it. They sit there with a smile and they repeat the words. So, you know, we've had a really lovely response to it, and it's just lovely to see them reminisce in their own ways, just with the smiles and the nodding of the head.
Is it a traditional story, or is it one that people know, or is it a new story?
It's a new story based on a tradition.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I think we'll head back into the main session, and I think that there's going to be some closing remarks in a few moments as well. But thank you very much, everyone.
Thanks all. Bye-bye.
Thank you.